Thanks for staying with us. Now it's time to get some breakfast, because we're starving here this
Absolutely
morning.
starving. Paul Knapp is here with us this morning, dishing up a delicious brunch. Good morning to you all.
Morning, guys. How are we all?
What are we having?
We are making a vegan shakshuka, so the egg shakshuka. So it's North African, typically was a kind of a spiced tomato sauce, and you poach your egg into that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a kind of a vegan version of that.
Shakshuka without eggs?
Yes. So it's, just try
You're saying that you didn't even know what shakshuka is.
I've made shakshuka lots of times.
You can't even pronounce it.
No, I have. It's lovely. I know I have. I promise I have.
This will be lovely too, trust me. Okay,
but,
so what we've got is
is...
we've got some onions, some garlic, we've got some tomato puree, we've got some harissa paste, we've got some roasted peppers, we've got some cumin, we've got some paprika. All of the ingredients is up on Island M socials, as well as a Virgin Media One player. And all we're going to do is we're going to start with our onion. So I've got a decent sized onion. I diced that and I just started to sweat that down for about 10 minutes, okay? Halfway through, what I've done is I've put in there some garlic as well. So I left the garlic halfway through the process so we don't burn that, okay? And a nice glug of olive oil. And all we're going to do is...
A lot of oil, obviously, in that.
Just
lovely.
Yeah, I always go kind of heavy with the oil. When you think you put enough in, put a little bit more in, okay?
That looks like, is that like just a big onion like that?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a lot of onion.
Exactly, a nice decent sized onion. If you can't get a good one, Alan, just use maybe a couple of small ones. Exactly, yeah. So all we've done is we cooked that down for about 10 minutes. And then what we're going to do is we're going to introduce into that some smoked paprika. So I put in there about 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, and there's a teaspoon of cumin gone in there as well, okay? And what I will say is that the more you use spices, the more you'll probably build a tolerance too, so you can increase the volume, so you can control this. Start with one, taste it, and then if you want to put more in there, put it in there. So there's no point in going too heavy and stuff like that.
Does the taste develop though as it cooks?
Absolutely it does, and it's always nice the next day as well. Almost to make it the next day. A nice little bit of salt goes in there as well. And then what we're going to do is we're going to spice this. As we said, this is a North African, so we're going to put in there some harissa paste. So it's kind of like a chilli. If you haven't got any harissa paste, don't worry about it, because you can actually use like cayenne pepper or something like that. Okay. And then we're going to put in there a nice dollop, a couple of tablespoons of
if you don't want
puree.
the kick to it, can you just use a tomato paste?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes what you might do is, even if you wanted to, without a huge kick, you can put a whole chilli into it. Okay, just pierce the skin, put a whole chilli in, all right? Trust me with this. And then when you cook it, take the chilli out. So what you'll get is you get the flavour of the chilli, but you won't get too much of the heat. So what we do is you bring that together.
And pierce it, did you say?
Yeah, just pierce the skin a couple of times with a knife. So that then is our nice mix, okay, like so. We're going to put in there is a roasted red pepper that just gets chopped up.
Is that just out of the jar?
Absolutely. That was from the jar. If you haven't got time, from the jar. If not, just one of them in the oven, blacken it or under the grill, and then just take the skin off and lob it in there as well, okay? So you get that lovely kind of peppery vibe. And then a couple of tins of tomatoes goes in there as well, like so. And then what we're going to do is, just to get the best out of the tomatoes, right, I'm going to put in there a little bit of sugar, which brings out the nice kind of flavour in the tomato.
Just brown sugar,
Well, I have brown sugar at home, so just any kind of sugar.
But you can put kind of maple syrup or anything into it, really, can you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you actually have made this?
I have, yeah.
You want to finish it off and I'll go and have a cup of tea?
No, I haven't had as many ingredients as this, but
what we're doing is we're putting in a little bit of pomegranate molasses, all right? So what that
definitely haven't done all these ingredients. Pomegranate molasses, where the hell did you get that?
Take a little taste of that there. All that is it's quite tart. It's sweet and tart, okay? So if you can't get
But you don't need all these.
You don't need it. A lot of them, all they do is they just give it a nice depth of flavour, especially if you cook that for a while, okay? And then what we do, we bring that up to the boil. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to make our eggs. So I've got tofu, silken tofu.
This is where the problem starts, right?
Black salt.
Go on.
We've used the black salt before, okay?
Yeah.
We're putting in there just to thicken it. A little bit of potato starch and a little bit of rice starch goes in there. And then also as well a little bit of water. And all we do, so that basically is our silken tofu. Now we've used tofu before, we've done scrambled tofu, we've used it for frittata, we've used it for bits and pieces. So all I'm doing basically is just whisking this up, all right, which is really, really simple and really, really straightforward.
Now, you don't need the black salt, I presume it can be any salt.
You can,
or do you need
the black salt will give it that eggy taste, okay?
Oh, because of the sulphur.
Absolutely, yeah. So then what we're going to do is into this, once this is boiled, we reduce this down for about 10 to 15 minutes, right? Because what we want to do is we want this kind of just to evaporate some of the water. And all we're doing then is we are taking some of our tofu like so, and we're putting that into there. And what's going to happen with the cornstarch and the rice, it's actually going to start to set.
And silken tofu, what way does that come? Is it in a carton, is it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So Tommy, when you would make this, would you crack an egg?
I'd crack the eggs in, put the lid on,
So what we've got with this, right, this is our egg yolk. So basically it's the same mixture with a little bit of turmeric in there, okay?
Could you put mustard? Would mustard go on it, do you think?
Yeah, so we put that in.
So you're actually replicating an egg here.
Absolutely, yeah. So they go in there like so. And then you cook that for about 10 minutes with the lid on, okay, because it'll poach like so. And then what we get is when it's done is our, and they set as well, and the egg yolk should still be slightly runny, okay?
That's fab.
And then to finish it off, all we're going to do is to finish this off is
excellent.
is with some feta cheese over top of that as well, which is a plant-based feta. a little bit of coriander over the top of that. Just
It's done.
Like so. And just say, and then we can finish that with a little bit of olive oil. And realistically, from a visual point of view, that looks exactly the same as your shakshuka would do. It's going to behave the same, and a lot of the base flavours, which are your...
So then you take an egg out, that's what you're serving for people.
Absolutely.
Jeez, Paul, that's
very
impressive.
clever. That's very impressive now, I have to say.
And there we go. There's a little bit more there for...
Right.
So look at that. You'd actually think that that's a fried egg in that.
A fried green egg.
Fried
And then serve that with a little bit of bread there. That's just some of my leftover pizza.
Right, let's try the silken tofu.
instead of an egg.
You're on television, so you've got to say it's nice.
It's kind of an eggy, like,
It does have a texture.
That's the thing. What you're getting at is the texture, and you're going to get a little bit of that kind of eggy taste from that there, but with that shakshuka.
it's lovely.
That shakshuka is nice.
Oh, yeah,
That's
it's really
shakshuka.
nice. Yeah.
Worth putting in those
Shakshuka is
ingredients.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, even with the pomegranate, whatever.
Molasses.
I've never heard
Okay,
of it,
there you have
but
it.
I'd say it's just delicious to have like that. Look at Tommy's
Paul,
really into that.
that's beautiful.
Thank
Paul
you so
Knapp,
much for that.
firefighting chef, great to have you with us as ever. Now, whether it is a high-protein diet or intermittent fasting, there's always a new trend we're told to try.
Yes, and after the break, dietitian Orla Walsh joins us to break down the do's and don'ts of healthy eating tofu. We'll see you back here very shortly.
that's
Lovely.
Oh.